and stuff automatically get 100 on it because you get like unlimited tries.
Well, see,
It's just time consuming.
well, see, I don't mind a difficult class, but when it's not organized or you can't get a response from the professor. I mean, I emailed her last week. Our class started on Thursday. I literally sent her like 2 separate emails. Your Lone Star on Thursday, 2 through D2L. To this day, have not received a response. So it's just, I have to put in the work, but you have to help me, you know? Because I took environmental science, and that was a great class. That was really
All right, guys, let's get started. I'm gonna cover 2 chapters for today. Now, for anybody who's watching this online right now, make sure to sign in the live chat box with your first and last name, and also tell me which class you're in. So Econ 2301, Econ 2302, and also the 4 section number, so 2803 or 2804, 28 whatever. Okay, so make sure to know your class number, your section number, your first and last name. Now, remember, every time you do this live with me, you can use 3 points on your test. Do add up all the points. I think there was one time last semester, there was one class, people were getting like, what, 17 points on the test? What? Yeah, that was too many. That shouldn't happen. All right, okay, so let's talk about this week. We're gonna go over chapter 2 and chapter 3. Now, guys, one thing I need to mention, many of you guys emailed me before, asked me, what do we do with the access code? I think I might have put up the wrong syllabus online, and I probably tell you guys that we need to do the homework, which will be part of the access code, right? So for our class, don't worry about that. We don't have any homework. We don't need the access code. So all we gotta do for this class, just like last semester, we need to do your quizzes every chapter, discussion, and then exams, and then final. It's the only 4 things to do. Okay, so there's no homework, so we don't need anything that's required the access code. So if you already bought it, then what you do is don't even open it. And then what you want to do, sell this to somebody else. There are people who take an online econ class that do actually need an access code. Sell to them. That's a good way. But for us, all you need, you don't need the textbook from the bookstore, which will cost you $140. All you need is a textbook. So go to halfpricebook.com or go to Amazon, find a used older edition. Last night I was checking on Amazon. They have the used 5th edition for only $20. It's really cheap. So you don't need the textbook, so you're doing a textbook. Make sense? Yeah. Yeah, I'm hearing that too.
I'm hearing that noise. I don't know what it is. Can you turn it off or volume?
Shall we leave and then close and then
All right. Okay, so I'm going to cover chapter 2 and chapter 3 today. So it's going to be a little more than usually. Normally we do 1 chapter per week, but this week chapter 2. Just give me that one.
Just turn it off.
Yeah, just shut it.
Turn off the bottom, from the whatever that brain thing is. Yeah, that.
All right. Okay, so normally we do a chapter per week, but this chapter, this week we're gonna do 2 chapters. Chapter 2 is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Chapter 3, however, is very difficult. For the quiz, the lecture is sounds pretty easy, but once you guys do the quizzes, the quiz is very math intensive, so it'll be very difficult. If you guys get like a 40 or 50 on the quiz, that's like class average. Okay, so don't worry about it. So what I will do after class today, I will make a video. I'll go over some of the questions in the quiz. I'll post the videos online. You guys can get the video first before the quiz. And I will also post on the answers. Okay, that'll help you. All right. And then, Carla, do you remember the quiz from last semester, the chapter 3?
Yeah.
Remember Arturo? Right. So yeah. So a lot of students who finish my class. Like in chapter 3, there's a series, like maybe like 10, 15 questions about these 2 people called Arturo and Dina.
Yeah. Brazil.
Yeah, and then many people. Oh, really? Okay,
yeah, I already did.
Maybe I took it off. So what happened was that there so many people so traumatized about Arturo and Dina, and they'll never name the kids after Arturo and Dina. Right? So it's not there. That's good. I think that's part put it off. Okay. So what I will do after class today, I will make a video online. I'll go over some of the questions in the quiz and then show you how to do it. And that's how we come up. Okay. All right. So chapter 2. The first part of chapter 2 talk about how economics is a science. We're gonna skip that. It's not that important. And then the first part won't be on your test. Okay? Now, what we need to know are the two models for chapter 2. So the first model is called a circular flow diagram. It shows you how resource and how money flow in the economy. So it shows you how resource and how money flow in the economy. And for this diagram over here, it's gonna be a very simple model. So as long as you guys know how this model looks like, you'll be fine. There's not that much information to the model. And then for this simple model, we're gonna have two actors, the two parties. The two actors are your household and firm. So household and firm are the two parties. Now, between household and firms, we're going to demonstrate which one is on the demand side, which one is on the supply side. So guys, any idea between household and firms, which one is on the demand side? That's the question. Household, firms? Both. All right. Any idea? Anybody have a short answer? Which one it is? Household. What is it?
Okay.
Household. And you believe household on the demand side. Household on the demand side. How sure are you from market? Wow.
Wow.
You know, there is something called open market. Okay, so which one demand side? Now, guys, let me give you an answer. This answer can be applied to every question. The answer is it depends. It depends. It depends on what? Okay. It depends on which market you're talking about. So we have two types of markets. We have the market for goods and service, and then we also have something called the factors of production. That's also part of the market. Now, the good and service, that is like your stores such as Walmart, HEB, Target. They're the market for goods and service. Where consumers will go to buy our everyday goods, that's the market for goods and service. Now, in that market, the market for goods and service, our household, we are the demand side. We want to buy the goods and service. Firms on the supply side, they sell us the goods and service. So you're right on the first market. Now, on the second market, the market for the factors of production. Now, the factor of production, that is your resource. So for all the resources we have in the economy. One example you can think of is very straightforward. Think about labor. Labor is a resource, our companies. So in the market for labor, also, we are the labor, right? We supply the labor, and then firms, they would demand the labor. So in the market for factor productions, it's switched. Will become the household on the supply side, and then firms on the demand side who need to purchase the resource to produce goods and service. This two market over here, which one demand or supply is switched, depends on which one you're talking about. Okay. Everybody got it? Okay. All right, so let's look at how this model looks like. But first of all, what is factor productions? So factors of productions, they're the resource the economy use to produce goods and service. Now, any idea? Let's suppose this. Suppose I'm going to open a business, open a restaurant, and the only thing I produce in my restaurant will be chicken fries. Nothing else. One item on the menu, chicken fries. So guys, for my business, what resource do I need? What is it? Land, okay, location, what else? Equipment, what else? Like what? Which is chicken and rice, right? You got chicken and rice, what else? People?
Money.
No, people?
Money.
Oh, you mean employees? Yeah. Don't put people on the list. So employees, what else? Let's categorize everything. So far we have resource, natural resource, which is chicken and rice. We have equipment, capitals. We have location. We have employees. So all these different categories, they are part of our resource. So resource, these factor productions, they're the resource company need to produce goods and service, and then we put it into three categories. So the three categories are, there are land, labor, and capital. So labor, they're the employees. They're the employee of the company. And then more importantly, labor is also including the human knowledge Because if you just hire people, you don't know what to do, then what's the employee good for? So you need to hire the employee who knows how to do this stuff. And then we also need to have land. Now land is more than land use land. Land is also all the natural resource that's coming from the land. So your chicken and rice, your water, your electricity, your coal, your natural gas. So all the natural resources we have is part of the land. And the last one, capital. This capital is our physical capital. There are the equipment, tools, and fixtures. Now, what is missing from this list? We don't have money listed on this list. So which means money and then any other type of financial capital, they're not part of our physical capital, and that's not part of our resource. Let's think about why that is. Right? So why is money not on this list? Do company need money?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, right? You guys all ate chicken fried rice before? Yeah. Okay. So, guys, I want you to think back last time you had chicken fried rice. Yeah, Sunday lunch or restaurant or chicken fried rice. And you're eating your chicken fried rice halfway, so you are halfway through. This ever happened to you? You're like, what's this? Quarter. I put a quarter in my chicken fried rice. Did that ever happen to you before? Did you ever find a quarter in? No? So there's no money in the chicken fried rice, right? So why do companies need money? Now, here it is. Company need money to buy chicken and rice, which means company need chicken and rice. Now, company need money to hire employees, which means company need employees. So this money is not what company need. What company need is what the money can purchase. The land, the labor, and your capital. That's why this money over here is only an intermediary between what the company and what the company need. That's why your money is never part of our resource. Make sense? And then, guys, remember this part. This will help you for this class. Remember this: money is not important. Sounds so philosophical. But trust me, money is not important. This will help you for the future chapters. Okay? So money for this over here is not part of the resource. Make sense? Yes. All right. Now let's look at our model. So we have household and firms. So first for household on the right side, we own all the factory productions. We're gonna sell them to firms for income. When we sell this to firms for income, we're gonna use the income to buy good and service. Okay, so household, we own all the resource. We're gonna sell this to companies, and then we're gonna get income back. Once we have income back, we're gonna use our income to buy good and service. I mean, that's what we do, right? We work, we earn our paycheck, and then we spend the paycheck. Now for firms will be the opposite. So it's on the other side of the equation. So firms, they're gonna want to purchase or buy the factors of productions. And then they're going to use them to produce good and service. And once they produce the good and service, they're going to sell the good and service. Okay, so two parties over here, they're opposite. So household, we own the factory productions. We're going to sell the factory productions. And then we're going to buy good and service. But for firms on the other side, they're going to buy factory productions. And then they're going to produce good and service. So two parts of the picture here are totally opposite. Okay? So firms, all firms want to buy factory productions and then sell good and service. Hey guys, last lesson, did I repeat the whole thing about class? So guys, when you're taking notes in class, I'm gonna do a fast one. It's gonna be slow in the beginning, but once you get your hand to it, it can be twice as fast. So when you take notes in class, what you do, you hold a pen in each one of your hands, and then you write in opposite directions. It's twice as fast. It's gonna be slow in the beginning. Or take a picture if you don't need to. Take a picture too. Okay. But yeah, the whole two-hand thing, that can be twice as fast. Trust me, if you can do that, oh my God, you'll be so good. Okay? And then the company will hire you. Company will hire you. All right, everybody got it? Yes. All right, so first for our market for factory production, remember this is the resource market. This is the market for labor. Okay, so for this market, our household, we're gonna supply land, labor, and capital. So we're gonna put this in the marketplace. And then firms will buy the land, labor, and capital, and this will be called the factory production, which means that they will use the land, labor, and capital to produce goods and service. And then they're gonna pay us, so they're gonna compensate us with wage, rent, and profit. And then also we call this our income. So we sell our labor and then we earn the income back. Now that's the first market. For the second market, the market for goods and service, household, we're gonna spend the money at the market for goods and service. So you go to your Walmart, HEB, Target, you buy whatever you want. So this money for companies is called revenue. So they receive the money. And then they will sell us the goods and service, and then household, we're gonna buy the goods and service. So that's the goods and service market. Okay, so on the goods and service market, household with the demand side, company on supply side, and then on the market for factory productions is switched, household on supply side, and firms on demand side. One thing you guys want to notice on this model over here, you have two layers, right? The inside circle, the outside circle. The inside circle, the red arrow, representing how resource flows in the economy. And then the outer layer, the green circle, representing how money flows in the economy. So they're opposite directions. Right, so inside circle is how resource flow in the economy. The outside circle is how money flows in the economy.
That makes sense.
And then guys, did I put this PowerPoint online? Or only the base of this? Okay, all right, so I'll post all the PowerPoint. So what I'll do, guys,
It's the same one that's recorded.
the recorded, okay.
There's one recorded and it's the same one, but without the recording.
Okay,
I don't know if that
so
makes sense.
I think what happened on the stuff online right now, the PowerPoint's online. I think that might be the base edition. That's one
okay.
accompanying with the current textbook.
Okay.
But what I showed in class right now, yeah, that's the base, right? So what I showed in class right now is the 7th edition. So what I will do after class, I'll post all the stuff online as well.
So I go back and go.
Yeah.
You did.
All right, so that's the first model. The second model we're going to learn today is called a production possibility function. And by the way, guys, your chapter 3 is all based on this. This is what most people's timer starts with. Okay. So production possibility function, it shows you a combination of two goods the economy can produce given available resource and available technology. Now the key word here is that this is the possibility. So this doesn't show you how much resource or how much good and service the country is actually producing. What is our potential? And then for this production, it's not unlimited. There is a constraint, and this constraint is our limited resource and a limited technology. So how much you can produce, your potential, given how much your resource is, what kind of technology you have. And this is a very simple model. So we're only comparing two goods. Because if you do more than two goods, now with two goods, we can draw the two-dimensional graph, so X and Y. If you do three goods, that is three-dimensional, so X and Y and Z. That will be 3D, right? So you can think of a graph that's 4D. Let's stop and do that over ourselves. Okay. So 3D, that's what we think about. So that's why we're going to skip a very simple model, only two goods. Make sense? All right, so for our example here, we're going to comparing computers and wheat. If you're a guy or family guy, or if you're a family guy, computers, and Stewie will call it wheat. Okay. Computers and wheat. And then they will share one resource, labor. So this labor will be shared between two productions. And then for this labor, it's measured in labor hour. Guys, when you go to a dealership, get your car repaired at a dealership, once you finish, they give you a breakdown of the receipt. It will show you how much you spent on the part and how much you spend on labor. And on labor, it will tell you $85 for 10 hours, right? So which means every hour they charge you $85. Now, that doesn't mean that you have one worker spending 10 hours on your car. Now, what that means you have different workers, total spend 10 hours on the car. Now, and also it doesn't mean that your mechanics make $85 per hour. You don't, okay? Because the dealership take a huge chunk of the money. Remember the terrible coffee you taste at the waiting room? That's coming for your $85 per hour. Okay. So that labor, the 10 hours, that's called a labor hour. So once you find that, you take how many employees you have, multiply by how many hours each person work together. That's your labor hour. So suppose we have 10 employees, and then every day each worker works 8 hours a day. Together, there'll be 80 hours, and that's your labor hour. So it's how many people you have times how many hours each person works. Make sense? All right. And then for those of you guys taking accounting class, especially for manager or accounting, you need to learn about this labor hour. That will come in. Now, for this economy, we're going to have a total of 50,000 labor hours, and that's all we have, so no more. Let's look at our productions. So we're going to produce two goods, either computers or wheat. And then for computers, for every computer, it would take us 100 labor hours. And then for every pound of wheat, it would take us 10 labor hours. So one is labor intensive, one is not so much. And then for our different combinations, we're going to do 5 different combinations. So for the first combination, we're going to do 50,000 hours in production for computers, and then 0 hours in the production for wheat. So guys, if that happens, how many computers are we going to have?
500.
How many?
500.
How'd you get 500?
Well, I just divided the hours by the number of hours that you need to make one.
Very good, right? So we have total 50,000 hours for computers. Every computer takes 100 hours, so 50,000 divided by 100, you have 500 computers. Now, how many pounds of wheat are we going to have? Zero, because you don't spend any time on it. Of course, you don't have any wheat. I mean, it's like your homework. I mean, your quizzes. You don't spend any time on it. Of course, you get 0 for it. So 500 computers and 0 wheat. That's our first combination. Now, for combination B, how many computers are we going to have? For combination B, how many computers are we going to have?
400.
400, okay, and how many wheat? 1,000, right? Because it's 10,000 divided by 10. So 400 computers and 1,000 wheat. And then for C, how many computers? 250. How many wheat? Or 2,500. And then for D, how many computers? 100. How many wheat? 4,000. And then for last one, how many computers? 0. How many wheat? 5,000. Right. So this A, B, C, D, this over here. This is the production combination. The production possibilities. And we can take this combination of production possibilities to draw our PDF. Okay, so let's try that. Let's try the PDF. See how that looks like. Now for the PDF, will be a 2-dimensional graph, so X and Y. We're going to put one good on one axis. So let's suppose we put wheat on horizontal axis, I mean on the vertical axis. And then we're going to put computers on the horizontal axis. So it doesn't matter which one goes where, but for now, let's just put the wheat on the vertical and then the computers on horizontal. Okay. And I'm going to put the 5 points in there. So 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and 5,000. All right, so our first point we had the first combination A, which is 500 computers and 0 wheat. So that's our first point A. And then for point B, it's going to be 1,000 wheat and a 400 computer. So that's our point A, combination B. And then combination C is half and half. So 2,500 and 250. This combination C. Combination D is going to be 4,100. And then combination E is a 5,000 week and 0 computers. So that's our A, B, C, D, E we had before. Now to draw the PDF, all we're going to do is to find a line that's connecting all the points on the line. That is called a PDF, the production possibility function. So this shows you that all the different combinations, what we can produce. So connecting all the combinations is our PDF, production possibility function. Okay. Now this production possibility frontier, it has some special properties. So the first special property is that it shows you what is the opportunity cost between different level productions. Remember we learned this in last week, opportunity cost. That's the opportunity you must give up to do something else, right? So guys, if we look at this table here, all right, so dark. All right, when it's too dark, if you feel my favorite. All right, so if we go from point A to point C, what is our opportunity cost? If you go from point A to point C, what is our opportunity cost? Is it? 250. Or is it 250? Yeah, right. So guys, if you look at this combination, so at point A, we have 500 computers and 0 week. At point C, we have 250 computers and 2,500 counts a week. So go from point A to C, we gain 2,500 counts a week. But for opportunity cost, we don't care about how much we gain. We care about how much we give up. So for how much we give up, from A to C, we give up 250 computers. And that is our opportunity cost. But the one thing it does is that on this table and on the line, it shows you what is the trade-off between 2 points. So if you go from 1 point to the next point, what is the opportunity cost that must give up for? Okay. And then the second property, which is also very important, is this.
If you were, sorry, I'm trying to understand. If you were from point C to A, then the opportunity cost would be like
2,500 pounds a week. Yes. So whatever you give up for it, that's opportunity cost. Okay. All right. So it also shows you what is possible and what is not possible. So guys, for this PDF, actually for this economy, is it possible for this economy in 1 month to produce 500 computers and 5,000 a week? Is it possible? Why not? How do you know by looking at it?
Oh, well,
Any idea? What is it? We don't have enough hours. Yeah, let's take a look, right? So remember, for every computer, it would take what, 100 labor hours. So if we want to produce, all right. So if we want to produce 500 computers and 5,000 weeks, now every computer will take you 100 labor hours. So which means that by this by itself will be 50,000 labor hours. And then for every count a week, that will take you 10 labor hours. So this by itself is also 50,000 labor hours. So by this combination, we're gonna need 100,000 labor hours. Do we have 100,000 labor hours? We don't. We only have 50,000. So that combination is too much. We cannot produce that point. Now, when you draw this on the graph, the point of 500 and 5,000 week, that point is right here. Now, see how that point F is actually to the outside of our PDF. Now, that's a special property. If you have a point, any point, that's outside of our PDF, we call those points impossible. But we just don't have enough resource to produce the points outside. So anytime if you see a point that's outside of PPF, it just means we don't have enough resource to produce the points outside, and we call those points impossible. Now, let's look at another combination. Okay, so is it possible for this economy, to produce 100 computers and 1,000 rupees. Is it possible?
For like 100 people?
100 computers and 1,000 rupees.
Yes.
I like the confidence in your voice. It is yes, right? So why yes? Because we have enough resources. So for 100 computers, each one is going to be 100 hours. So which means the first one will take you 10,000 labor hours. And then for every pounds a week, everyone take you 10 hours. So this will be another 10,000 labor hours. So together, this requires 20,000 labor hours. Do we have 20,000 labor hours? We do. I don't have 8,000. I don't have more than that. So this point is very possible. Now, if you find this point on the graph over here, so 1,100 is a point right here, point G. So point G is possible. And notice how the point G is to the inside of your PPF. So which means for any point that's inside of our PPF, we call them possible. So we're going to give a special name for this point. So for the point G, which only requires 20,000 labor hours. So for this economy, if we produce at point G, is that efficient?
No.
It's not efficient, it's inefficient because we have more resources. But this point G only requires 20,000 labor hours. Now what do you do with the other 30,000? They're left unused. So which means that for the points inside, we don't just call them possible. We're going to call them something else. We're going to call the points inside inefficient. Because for the points inside, we have more than enough resource. But for the points inside, we don't use them all. We have left unused resource. We call them impossible. Okay? The points outside impossible. Points inside inefficient. Now, which brings us to the points on the line. So for our point A, B, C, D, E. Now for A, B, C, D, E, look at the hours that each one requires. Each one all requires 50,000 hours. We have 50,000 hours. So this point is also possible. And also for this point over here, they're using all the resource we have. So for the points on the line, we call them efficient. Because we're using all the resource we have. So points outside, we call them impossible because we don't have enough resource to produce the points outside. And then points inside, we call them inefficient because we're not using all the resources we have. And then for points on the line, we call them efficient because we're using everything we have. So points outside impossible, points inside inefficient, and then points on the line called efficient. Points outside impossible because we don't have enough resource to produce the points outside. Points inside inefficient because we're not using all the resource we have. And then points on the line called efficient because we're using everything we have. So points outside impossible, points inside inefficient, points on the line efficient. Now guys, I will guarantee you will see questions like this on your quiz. If your graph, give me different points, ask you which one's which. If you see a point that's outside, it's point impossible. But it's also known as unattainable, which cannot attain this point, because we don't have enough resource to produce the points outside. If you see a point inside, we call that inefficient. Because we can produce those points, but we have more than enough resource. So the points inside, don't use them all, we call them inefficient. And the points on the line called efficient, because we're using everything we have. So points outside impossible, points inside inefficient, points on the line efficient. Okay. I guarantee you will see this on the test as well. On your test, I will give you a graph like this and ask you, what is the point outside called? It's point impossible, because we don't have enough resource. What do we call the points inside? Called inefficient, because we're not using everything we have. What do we call the points on the line? Called efficient. That's everything we have. So points outside impossible. Points inside inefficient. Points on the line efficient. Did you last semester, did you dream about me? Did I appear in your dream?
Nightmare.
Nightmare. That's also a dream. So guys, I do this every semester. So you guys, even for everybody online, you guys have my wife's permission to dream about me. Okay. So in your dream, I will tell you, points outside called impossible because we don't have enough resource. Points inside called inefficient because we're not using everything you have. And points on the line called efficient but using everything you have. Make sense? Guarantee you will be on the quiz, on the test, on the time. All right? Okay. Let's continue. Oh, by the way, what do you call this point? Inefficient because it's inside the line, right? And this point over here, impossible because we don't have enough resources. All right, very good. This, I'll talk about it. All right, so one thing we can do with our PPF, we can also use PPF to show economic growth. So when the now remember last class we talked about the 10 principles of economics, and then I believe is the number 8 principle. It says a country's standard of living depends on how much good and resource, good and service the country can produce. So which means that to show economic growth, we don't want to see how much more money the country has. So that's easy. You want more money, pay more money. What we want to see is how much more good and service the country can produce. So anytime if your PPF is shifted outward, that is economic growth. Because now for this economy, it can produce more good and service. So anytime if your PPF is shifted outward, that's called economic growth. So any ideas what are some of the factors or reasons we can shift our PPF outward? Okay. So what we can do to shift our PPF forward
To the right.
to the right. What can we do? That's the economy. What is it? All right, so there we're going to start. It's a new technology, right? So if we have improved technology, PPF goes forward. By the way, in the 1990s, our PPF was going forward. The reason why because of the introduction of computing. Right? Very good. What else? Any idea? What else we can do as the economy to grow the economy? Remember the factor production: land, labor, and capital. Right? So anytime if one of those resources is increasing, our PPF will be going forward. Remember the PPF, we have this limited resource and technology. So if you increase our resource or increase technology, the PPF will be shifted outward. So if you increase your technology, PPF goes outward. Increase your number of capitals, which means by means of more computers, more machines, PPF goes outward. You have more land, so more natural resource. You have more lumber, more gold, more silver. Remember how in 2005 we liberated Iraq. We also found more oil in their country. Our economy is outward. Okay? And then also more employees, more labor. The more number of employees you have, the bigger the economy you have. But the thing with employees, you can have more people just by having more sex, but it doesn't solve the problem. Because if you have this more people, that means even though your economy is growing, but there are more people share the bigger economy. So it doesn't mean individual person can enrich. So if you want to make sure that every person can enrich, what you need more than just having more people, you need to have more educated people. So education is a huge part of it. Remember this human knowledge? So when your workers, you have more number of workers and you have more human knowledge, then your production goes forward. And then every individual person can get a bigger share of the pie. Make sense? So this PPF, but if you want to look at the example of this, the difference, compare the economy of India and the economy of China. Both countries are growing tremendously. Really, 40 years ago, India and China, they were two of the poorest countries in the world. Today, the Chinese economy is number 1 in the world. India is number 3 in the world. So both economies are growing very fast. And so you look at per person wise. Per person wise, the Chinese people are growing faster or richer compared to the Indians. And that contributes to one policy. It's called a one-child policy. That's heard it before? So one-child policy. So in China, you only have to have one kid. So the limited amount of children in the economy, so which means more resource, we now focus on a smaller amount of children, so each kid is better educated. That's why China last year, China graduated the most number of bachelor degrees in the world. So they have more education, they also have more people, and the economy grows faster. And the individual people in the country is also richer. Now, India didn't have such policy. So they don't have this one-child policy. Everybody, well, it sounds so bad, but everybody, like, and then having more kids. And more kids. And then the economy is growing, but individual person in the country is still very poor. Now, it doesn't mean that the one-child policy is right. The same with one-child policy, to control the population, the government would do forced abortion. So it's not because you want abortion, but the government will force you to do it. And then abortion over here is performed up to 3 months of pregnancy. Abortion in China is performed up to 6 months of pregnancy. Now, at 6 months of pregnancy, that kid in the womb, if the kid has a premature birth, so let's say if the child comes out at 5 months, that child can survive. So if you have abortion at 6 months of pregnancy, that means you're going to kill the child inside the womb and then bring it out. So, all right, but the Chinese economy is also having a big problem now because of the one-child policy. So even though Chinese economy is growing very fast, but China has one big problem. It's a huge funding problem. The problem is this. I mean, we have the same problem here, but it's not that good. It's not that bad. The problem in China is that the economy will work as long as you have people, as long as you have working age people. So when people are working, so between age 18 to 65, the economy is going forward. And then when you have this working population, this working population from age 18 to 65 can support everybody else, right? So the kids and then older generations. But because of one-child policy, there are less and less number of people going into the working age. But there are more people on top who are now getting retired. So eventually, they're going to have more retired people and a less number of working age people. And how do you have this smaller group of working people to support all the retired people? It's a kind of problem. All the problem goes back to the people don't die. People don't die is a problem for China. It's true. People don't die is a problem. All right. The shape of PDF, normally, and on your quiz, on your test, you're going to see a linear straight line PDF, but you might also see this, probably not, but if you see this type of PDF, the reason why you're going to have a shape border over PDF is that sometimes you're going to have a resource, but this resource has a specialty. So with a specialty resource, your PDF will be bordered over. So let me give you an example. Okay, so anybody here speak fluent Spanish? All right, Carla. Carla, how good is the Chinese? Not good at all? All right. So, guys, let's suppose we have a company. And then for our company, we're going to have 2 employees, me and Carla. Okay? And then all we do is translating papers. So we take paper from English and translate into either Spanish or Chinese. So we do the Spanish or Chinese. Now, let's suppose Carla, in 1 hour, she can translate 10 Spanish papers. And then since her Chinese is not so good, so in 1 hour, she can translate 2 Chinese papers. Oh, by the way, guys, any idea how to translate paper? You don't need to speak Chinese. So if I ask you to translate paper to Chinese, what do you do? Yeah, Google Translate. Go to Google Translate. Yeah, right, so cool.
How
So
do you do that?
yeah, just go to, so when you go to Google, type in Google Translate. And then there's a little website, you paste whatever you want. So let's say you have a paragraph in English, right? You paste it into English. And then there's a button on top. You click on it, it will transfer the paragraph into Chinese. You can choose whatever language you want. Yeah, it's sweet. Yeah. So let's say Carla Yeah, you guys, with this Google Translate, you don't have to take foreign language class anymore, all right? There's no
We
need for
don't
it
learn
anymore.
anything.
You don't have to, because now Google does everything for
See,
you.
that's the problem.
Yeah, that's right. So there's also there's also a Google Translate app.
It's good, bad. I mean, it's good because it's there, but it's bad because no one really gets to learn it.
We don't have to anymore, right? Now, for now,
Computers crash.
yeah, then we all die.
Then you die.
So for the Google Translate app, it is true. So you can speak to your phone and it will translate to foreign language. And then for Google Translate, it also has a function. So that app will open your camera. So when let's say you go to a foreign when you go to a foreign country, let's say you go to a Mexican restaurant, it's all the menus in Spanish. You move your phone over the menu, and then on the screen, it will automatically translate your Spanish menu into English on your phone. It is so cool. Yeah, try that out. So guys, go home, go to Apple Store, download the Google Translate app. It's really cool. Really cool. Okay, now, also guys, you know how every time you write a research paper at school, then once you submitted it, the teacher will put it into turn it into account.
Yeah,
Good type of
understood
plagiarism,
that.
right? And then if you plagiarize anywhere, if you copy and paste anywhere, it will catch it. And then also, if you ever recycle a paper, what that means if you did a similar paper for another class, if you bring the same paper back, it will catch it too. It will show 100% plagiarism, even though it's own paper. So some teacher are okay with it, but some are not. So do not recycle old paper, write old stuff. Okay? Because
Interesting.
couple semesters ago, we had a situation on campus. So this one girl, she wrote a paper for another class, and then for this class, it was a similar assignment. So she just used her old paper from the other class for this class. I mean, it's okay, right? It is her paper, but she got a 0 for it. So the reason why, because the teacher's argument is that you shouldn't, whenever you have an assignment, you should redo the assignment, do a brand new assignment. If you use an old assignment, then you're not going to use assignment. And so make sure to not recycle it. Now, however, if you really want to copy paste right, let me teach you a way how to trick the system.
Let me write this down.
Yeah, write it down. Just take notes. Or just it's all recorded. So
I'm
don't watch
kidding.
it.
I'm kidding.
This is what you do.
I'm so scared to do anything on that thing.
If your paper is copy and paste, before it's submitted, your paper, go to Google Translate. So first translate your paper from English to Spanish, and then from Spanish to German, German to Italian, and lastly, from Italian back to English. Now, once you translate all these 3 times back to English, will be a brand new paper. Yeah. So however, ever heard this thing called a lasting translation? Yeah. But that paper, once you translate 3 times, will be lasting translation 3 times. Once you read the paper, it sounds nothing like the original. It's all gibberish. Okay? So, but it's brand new, but it's gibberish. So at least you have a brand new paper.
You're a brand new paper.
Makes sense? All right, so we have this company over here. So Carla can do 10 Spanish paper. I can do she can do 2 Chinese paper per hour. Now for me over here, now guys, I took 3 years Spanish in high school. Never anything. So for me, I can do 2 Spanish, and I can do 10 Chinese per hour. So 2 employees. Now, let's draw the TPF for this company. So for this TPF, we'll put Spanish on the vertical axis and Chinese on the horizontal axis. So guys, for this company, between me and Carla, in 1 hour, how many Spanish paper can we translate? In 1 hour, we can 12 of us. 12, right? Because in 1 hour, Carla can do 10, I can do 2. So at maximum, we can do 12 Spanish papers. Now, in 1 hour, how many Chinese paper can we do at maximum? 12 as well. 10 from me, 2 from her. 12. Now, let's suppose currently we have both type of papers. We have both the Spanish full account and then the Chinese full account. Now, if that's the case, which paper should Carla do? Spanish. That's what she did. I do Chinese. So if that's the case, between 2 of us, in 1 hour, we can do 10 Spanish and 10 Chinese. So if you find that point 10 and 10, the 10 will be over here, and will be over here. That is 10 and 10. So that's your point A, point B, point C, connect your 3 points. Now this PDF is for our, when you have a specialty resource, you have to go for our. And then also this PDF has a law. This law is called law of increasing opportunity cost. The law of increasing opportunity cost. Now this is what it is. So guys, if we go from point A to point B, what is our opportunity cost from point A to point B? To what?
Two papers.
To Spanish paper.
To
right?
Spanish paper.
So if we go from point A to point B, we give up 2 Spanish papers. Now if we go from point B to point C, what is our opportunity cost? So from point B to point C, what is our opportunity cost? Now remember, it's always what you give up, right? So for at point B, we have 10 Spanish and 10 Chinese. At point C, we have 0 Spanish and 12 Chinese. So go from point B to point C, you do gain 2 Chinese, but we don't care about that. The opportunity cost is what you give up. So we lost 10 Spanish paper. Right? So but see how when you go from point A to B, you're only losing 2 Spanish paper. But if you go from point B to point C, you're now losing 10 Spanish paper. So how much you give up is increasing. That's called a law of increasing opportunity cost. You see that? That's what it means. Hopefully you won't. I don't think I put a question on the quiz. But if you do, we can put it in. All right, let's continue. Any questions so far? All right, I think that's about it for chapter 2. Let's see what else about it. All right, so know the difference between the microeconomics and the macroeconomics. The micro is the study of the economy on a smaller scale, 2302. Macroeconomics is the study of the economy on a bigger scale. So if you look at the economy on a smaller scale, then you have information affecting the small economy. So normally looking at individual consumers, individual business, individual market. It's the microeconomics. But if you look at the economy on a bigger scale, and so for macro, there's information such as inflation, which affects the entire economy, GDP, entire economy, unemployment rate, entire economy. So all those they're part of the macroeconomics. For everybody who is here, I'm who's watching right now, in 2301, 2302. Let me see again who is in 2302, please.
It's micro.
And you guys are 2301. 2302 is easier than 2301.
Okay.
If you once you suffer through 2301, 2302 is easier.
Okay.
Remember, school is not for learning. It is for suffering, right? It's for suffering. That's what we do. Everybody got it? Microeconomics and macroeconomics. All right. And then also know the difference between the positive statements and the normative statements. So positive statements is information based on facts and numbers. That's called positive statements. Normative statements, they're information based on personal belief, personal opinion. That's the normative statements. Anybody here using AstroSpec?
Yes.
Wow, everybody here.
Here, listen.
So guys, let me give you an example of this. Okay, so guys, if I tell you that I'm taller than Jose Altuve, would that be true?
Yes.
I mean, we can measure that, right? Because we can take a ruler
He's so
to see how
tiny.
tall the person is, right? And you can measure that. And by the way, really, Jose Altuve, I mean, really, like for it's a miracle how good he is.
He's awesome.
Right. It's really because if you guys read his story, He's from Puerto Rico.
No,
Venezuela.
Venezuela.
Venezuela?
Yes.
Okay. So where he was from, in the beginning when they were sending out so every single team was sending out scouts to the country to see which players are good, which young kids are good. Nobody would ever give him a chance because he's tight. And then luckily I don't remember the guy's name, but there was one scout on Astro. He gave him a chance, and then they liked him. And then when they signed him to the first contract, because of his height, and then nobody even gave him a chance. So when they signed the first contract with him, the first contract for Jose Altuve was a 3-year contract. For the 3-year contract, the annual salary for Jose Altuve, the first contract when he was age 16, his first contract was at the entire year was only $17,000. But nobody expected that it was. So yeah, I mean, that's good. That's good. But so to see how tall the person is, that's a positive thing. Now, if I ask him, in Jose Altuve, me over here, who is more handsome? There's already 5 points off. So now,
I'm not gonna
yeah, you're not
answer.
gonna,
Yeah,
you're not gonna
no.
comment off that. Okay, so
Look at it.
so guys, here's the thing. If I ask you who is more handsome, that is based on personal belief, personal opinion. That's a normative statement. It's a positive. It's based on facts and numbers. We can measure that. Normative is based on personal belief, personal opinion. That is hard to measure. And then the problem with the normative is that they tend to change. They tend to change and change very often. You guys change your opinions too. You don't believe me, think about this. Guys, think back 8, 9 years ago. So back in 2010, 2011. Remember how cool Justin Bieber was back then? Yeah, it was cool, right? Is it still cool now? Early? Okay, all right. You don't have to admit anything. I know.
I forgot you like Justin Bieber.
So, but guys, if you think about Justin Bieber, is still the same little asshole. What happened? Is that our opinion of him changed? And then think back 8, 9 years ago. Remember how normal Miley Cyrus was back then?
Oh goodness.
What happened now? So how normal the person is also based on normative thinking. And they do change. Make sense? Yeah? All right, very good. So
Boyfriend.
what is it?
I said she's stuck with that old handsome.
He's
He's the Thor's brother, missing Thor's brother. Liam Hemsworth. Yeah. What is Thor's name? What's his name? Chris Hemsworth. Yeah. Wow.
Okay, so let's do chapter 3. Chapter 3 is based on chapter 2. So for chapter 3, we look at the interdependence and then something called the gains function. So for chapter 3, the lecture, the concept for this apply this to the quiz is very important. Yeah, so if you guys getting like a 30s and 40s on the quiz, that's perfectly normal. That's like half everything. So what I will do after class, chapter 3. So what I'll do after class, I'll make a video talk about different classes in chapter 3. And then once I finish, I'll post videos online. So watch that video first, and then I will do a chapter 3. Okay. All right. So now the same with interdependence. We talked about this in chapter 1. We said that trade can make everybody better off. Now again, when we say trade can make everybody better off, we don't mean everybody individually, but we mean everybody as an entire country. So every country can be better off with trade. Now, even individually, we all trade. You guys all trade every day. For example, who here killed a chicken before?
I've seen it.
But you never killed a chicken.
Not no.
You guys know how to kill a chicken? It's not that hard. That's how you kill everything. You can have the hat, right?
Oh, I've seen them.
Yeah, it's good. So now we never killed a chicken before. Have you ate a chicken before? We have. Okay? So how did that happen? Because we trade. We pay somebody else to kill a chicken for us. So individually we trade. As a country based, also trade. Now let's see how trade can make everybody better off. So we'll compare 2 countries. Compare US and Japan. And then we still have this simple model, simple PPF. And then for this model, we're going to use 2 goods, computers and wheat. And then they also share this resource labor and measure labor hour. So first, let's do US first. So for US, so guys, this is the information for US. We have 50,000 labor hours. Every computer takes 100 hours. Every wheat takes 10 labor hours. So first, let's draw a simple PPF for US. Let's do it together. Okay. So for this PPF, we're gonna do a very simple. Before in chapter 2, we're gonna do this like the 5 different points A, B, C, D, E, and then do the connection. For now, we only use the 2 endpoints to draw a very simple PPF. So only using the 2 endpoints. All right. So for the 2 endpoints for US, let's do week on the vertical axis, and then computers on the horizontal axis. Okay. Now, for US, we'll have a total of 50,000 labor hours. And then for every computer, it would require 100 labor hours. So 3,000 divided by 100 computers. So the maximum can do 500 computers. So that's the endpoint. And then for week, same thing. For week, only requires 10 labor hours. So 50,000 divided by 10, you have 5,000. 5,000 goes over here. 500, 5,000. And then next, I'm going to do is to connect the 2 points. To draw a connection, this line is our PPF. Very simple PPF because use the 2 endpoints. Now, before US is trading with Japan, we're going to say US is self-sufficient. Now, to be self-sufficient, you must consume everything you produce yourself. Now, can you guys be self-sufficient? Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Guys, if you want to see if you can be self-sufficient, think about this. Can you make a toaster from scratch? You know, there is an economist who actually tried it. So this guy spent 6 months to make a toaster from scratch. And he had to make his own steel, make his own wires. It took him 6 months to make a toaster from scratch. Now imagine if you're gonna make a 70-inch LED TV, that would take you a long time. Okay? But that's why
It has to be 70 inch.
Yeah, the bigger the better. Oh, by the way, so did I tell you my wife bought a new TV?
A TV?
Yeah. So I mean, we had a 55-inch TV. That's already big enough. This is plenty of TV for anybody, right? But last year during Thanksgiving, she bought a new TV. She bought a 70-inch TV. That TV is bigger than her. I mean, come on. It is, right? It is because with 70-inch, that's what? That's 5 feet 10 inches. That's bigger than her. That's bigger than most people.
Yeah.
Nobody need a 70-inch TV.
But you like it.
She bought it. I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't see any difference. It's bigger, but it's just a TV. Did I tell you guys what she bought last night for Christmas? So she bought a TV. She bought a
all on Thanksgiving, like the sale.
Like the Black Friday thing. So
Lord.
she bought a new TV. She bought a new fridge. The fridge she bought is a Samsung fridge with a 4-door on it.
Mm-hmm.
She bought a new fridge. She bought a new stove. She bought a new dishwasher. She also bought a new husband.
She bought a what?
No, she didn't buy a new husband. But she almost bought a new husband. So, I think this is a message goes to all the guys out there. Whatever you want to buy personally, buy it before you're married. Once you get married, it becomes impossible. It's because she will spend all your money. All right. So that's US. Now for US, let's suppose before trade. Before trade, US can be self-sufficient. We're gonna consume everything we produce ourselves. So we're gonna do a half point for each one. So half and half. So US, we're producing and consume 2,500 tons a week, and then 250 computers. At this point is US consumption point with no trade. So no trade, we have 2,500 tons a week, and then 250 computers. That's no trade. It's self-sufficient. Make sense? All right, and then next, let's look at Japan. So this is Japanese information. So for Japan, they're gonna have 30,000 mega hours, and then every computer is require 125 mega hours, and then every pound of wheat require 25 mega hours. So guys, on your paper studies, try to draw the PPF for Japan. And then put the wheat on the vertical, and the computers on the horizontal. See what it is. I know that our class is being recorded online. Luckily, my wife will never watch. Now, guys, only do the two endpoints. You don't have to do all the points in the middle. Only two endpoints. Two extremes. Okay, guys, when you see unemployment just means inefficient. As for unemployment, it means we don't have workers who want to work but don't have a job. That's inefficient.
Because that's inside of the line, right?
Yeah, that's inside the line. All right, that's it? Yeah. All right, so the TPF for Japan. The TPF for Japan, let's try on this, right? The Japanese TPF. Now again, we're gonna do wheat on the vertical axis, computers on the horizontal. Now, how many wheat can Japan produce?
1,200.
1,200. 1,200 wheat. And how many computers? 240. And then connect 2 points. That's our Japan's TPF. All right, so let's suppose for Japan, before they are trading with the US, Japan is also self-sufficient. So they're producing, consuming everything they have. And let's suppose Japan is also doing half and half. We'll draw a midpoint here. So Japan will consume and produce 600 pounds of wheat and 120 computers. And label this point C. So that's Japan's consumption point before the trading. So Japan is also self-sufficient and doing half and half. Everybody got it? Yep. All right, so next, we're gonna allow the countries to trade. Now for the trade, before the trading, we're gonna pick a production point for each country. So let's just pick a point. Let's suppose this. Suppose Japan, this is Japan's production point. So Japan will produce 240 computers and produce 0 wheat. Now for US, we're gonna pick a point over here. So US production point, we're gonna produce 3,400 pounds of wheat and 160 computers. That's US production point. So each country is going to produce a point, and then they're going to trade. Now for this trade, US, we're going to send over 700 pounds of wheat. And Japan will send over 110 computers. So US will send over 700 pounds of wheat, and Japan will send over 110 computers. Now once that happens, let's see how much stuff Japan will have available to consume. So for Japan, they produce 240 computers. But once they trade with US, how many computers will Japan has available to consume? 130, right? Because they produce 240, but they're sending away 110 computers. So they're gonna have 130 computers to consume. Now, how many wheat would Japan has available to consume? 700, because Japan doesn't produce any wheat, but they are getting 700 from US. So Japan is gonna have 700 pounds of wheat consumed. Now, this is Japan's new consumption. 130 computers, 700 pounds of wheat. Let's see what that is on the graph over here. So 600, now 700 is a little more than that. 130 and 120, little more than 120 and 130 and 120. Find this point on the PPF. Let's label this point P. P, that's the consumption point with trade. See how the P point is to the outside of PPF? Now, what do you call that point, people? Impossible. That point is impossible. But now it's possible. Now, when Japan is trading with US, Japan now is able to consume a point that's outside of the possibilities. So Japan is better off when they're trading with US, but they're consuming outside of PPF. Now that probably means US is worse off. Let's look at US. So for US, we're going to produce 3,400 pounds of wheat. Now, for 3,400 pounds of wheat we're producing, once we trade with Japan, how many wheat do we have left over? We produce 3,400 pounds of wheat, and then we're going to trade with Japan.
700, right?
2,700. Because we produce 3,400, but we send away 700. So minus 700, this will be 2,700 pounds of computers is US have. 170, right? Because we produce 160, we're getting 110 from Japan. So we're going to have 2,70 computers. Now let's find this point. So we're going to have 2,700 pounds of wheat, which will be over here, just above 2,500. And then we're going to have 270 computers, which is a little more than 250. To find this point, 2,700 pounds of wheat, 270 computers, we label this point P. See how this P point is also to the outside of our PPF for US? So which means US is also better off when they're trading with Japan. So this trade over here, trade is not a zero-sum game. It's a positive sum game. Now, when you're trading with other countries, you allow each country to specialize in what they're good at and then produce more good for every country, and then we can trade. So that's why trade is good. With trade, we can have more of all the good between both countries. By the way, on your quiz, on your test, you don't have to do all this. As long as you know trade is good. All right.
Quiz, you said? For the quiz or test?
For the quiz and test. Okay. For the quiz and test, I won't ask you to do all this. But this is as long as you know that for trade, every country can benefit, you know enough. Remember, school is not for learning, school is for suffering. All right. Okay. About this. We talked about this. All right, but make sure those import export. So import export. So export are the stuff you produce at home. You sell to other countries. That's export. Import are the stuff you that's produced overseas, or you buy them at home. That's import. Export, which is produced over here, sell to other countries. Import are the reverse. It's also produced overseas, but comes from over. So guys, let's suppose for our US economy, should we have more import or should we have more export? Exporting, just exporting, creating more jobs. Let me do this.
Well,
Guys, take care of yourself.
you can say there's more input. Could be more expensive, right?
Well, we talk about it. Let me see your cell phone. Cell phone. Cell phone. This is the Cell phone? Cell phone? Cell phone? Is everybody using an iPhone? It's like an iPhone class. All right, so I have 5 iPhones. Oh, pretty heavy, better not talk this. I have 5 iPhones. Now this is a trade, right? Now on my side over here, what should I call this 5 iPhone? This 5 iPhone my import or export? This is my import, right? Because I got it from you. Now for this trade, when you trade with me, who is better off, me or you?
Yeah.
You. Yeah, I'm better. I got all the iPhones over here. What you get back in return? You got a piece of paper. Right? You know what this is? Every time we're importing from other country, we're getting their good. And all we're paying for is a piece of paper called money. So who is better off? We are better off. Right? Guys, the thing with the importing, think importing like this. When you're importing, you have people from other countries that are working for us. Who is better off? We are better off. Now all we're sending back is a piece of paper called money. Okay? Now, don't tell China that they haven't figured this out yet. Okay? So at least for now, we're getting all the import from China. That means all the Chinese, they're working for us. They're making all the iPhone for us. We are better off because we're getting the iPhone. They're piece of paper. Make sense? Yeah. All right.
They're taking our job. Is that what they say? Is
Again,
that what they say on
fine,
the
fine.
Yeah, somebody says.
Yeah, taking our job is what's this?
Oh, that's right, you sent it to me, that video you did in the summer. Taking your job, it sounded like a rooster at one point.
Another thing about this,
It sounded like that after a while.
yeah,
You couldn't even make it out. I was like the redneck people here. It was
yeah,
funny.
right now it's a rebuttal. Another thing about this importing, exporting,
Import's better off.
so we get more stuff. For the iPhone, did I ever tell you guys the story behind the iPhone? Did I tell you in that last message the story behind the iPhone?
Like the people that work there,
Yeah.
they kill themselves or something?
No? Okay, so if you guys look at the iPhone carefully, on the back of the iPhone, right below the Apple logo, there's a little 2-line fine print. It says, iPhone is designed by Apple in California, assembled in China. Now, which means that even though that this iPhone is made, the logo is Apple, Apple don't make iPhone. Somebody else make iPhone for Apple. So Apple actually contract this out for other companies to make iPhone in overseas countries. And this company is in China. This company in China is called a Foxconn. So Foxconn in China has over 2 million employees. It's a huge company. They don't just make iPhones. They also make your PS4, your Sony TVs, all the Apple products, your Xbox One, your video TVs, your old Nokia phones. So all those things are made by this one company in China called Foxconn. Now we also have an office over here. It's off Bellway and 249 somewhere over there. But they don't make stuff over there. There's a import export stuff. But all the production is China. Guys, do you guys drive far to come to a test student? How far do you drive? One way.
Well, it takes an hour.
Hour? One way? Where do you come from?
From like 45 Spring area.
Okay, so it's pretty far. Especially the traffic's pretty bad.
Mhm.
Anybody else drive far? How far do you drive?
Wow.
Half hour? Where do you drive from? Oh, okay, so Gilmore and then 59 and then Bellway. Guys, imagine this. Imagine, would it be nice if your house is next door to the school? Yeah. Oh my God, sounds so lucky, right? So lucky. You have a class at 10 o'clock in the morning. You get up at 9:45 and still make it on time, right? And then if you okay, look, you want to poop, you don't feel comfortable over here, go home and come back, right? So convenient. So this location is good, right? If you close, it's pretty good. Yeah, this company in China, Foxconn, the only foreign company, company will provide you with dormitory, so free housing. And then this free housing is on site of the company. So imagine you have a building, there's a semi-line building. And next door to the building, you have a dormitory. It's really close, very convenient. Also, this company will provide you with 3 meals a day. So you have your batch ready, go to the cafeteria, get your breakfast, get your lunch, get your dinner. So everything's all people. So once you make a paycheck, you get everything to yourself. The video, yeah, that's right. That's right. So yes, last semester we had a video discussion on right? So this company in China, they don't provide us with the meals and the meals of the day and also the house. You guys have a house on this one? It's okay if I go over. Yeah, okay, all right. So what they do in China, they also provide you with everything else you need. So on site of the company, there is a grocery store, there is a movie theater, there is a library, there is a what is it? Yeah, oh yeah, there's another video for it. I think that video is for this semester. It's called UCON. It's a huge company, So they provide everything for you. But the difference between UCON and Foxconn is that for Foxconn, when you're working for Foxconn, they don't want you to go off the company. Because when you produce, especially when you're producing the new iPhones. Now the new iPhone, every year they release new iPhone. But before the iPhone is released, it was already in production. So while you're producing the iPhones, new iPhones, they don't want you to go off the company. They don't want this information to be leaked out of the company. So they will keep all the employees inside the company. Oh, sure, it's a payday right now, right? So what they do, they will build tall walls, so 30 feet tall wall. And then on top of the wall, they have wires. Now those wires don't face outside. Those wires face inside. What does it look like?
Prison.
A prison, but it's a paid prison.
Yes.
Okay? Now, a typical employee at Foxconn, so if you work on a assembly line, a shift, so it's a 12-hour shift, and then normally people do 6 shifts a week, sometimes more. Now, how many hours is that? 6 times 12. 72 hours a week. Now, imagine, imagine you're working on the assembly line, 72 hours a week. Every hour, every minute, you're doing the same repetitive task. You cannot make any mistakes. Wow. Well, okay. So, but you'll be stressed out. You're gonna be stressed out, right? So, guys, if you are stressed out, what do you do? Well, before you do that, go out to eat, right?
Yeah.
So go out to a restaurant, get a nice meal, right? So imagine you finish your 12-hour shift. You're very tired, very stressed out. Let me go get a nice meal to eat.
No.
So you go to a restaurant. Well, guess what? The restaurant's in the company. So when you go to the restaurant, who's running in the restaurant? Your coworkers and managers, you don't want to see anyone, right? Are you stressed out? Fine. Go to the bar. Get a drink. Go bar, which is also in the company. Who's next to you? Coworkers. They're still stressed out. Get a massage, right? So go to a massage place. Get a massage, which is in the company. Who's next to you? Coworkers, managers. Who's massaging you? Coworkers. So you are stressed out, right? Fine. Well, let me go back to my room. Let me lock the door. I'll have a good night's sleep and go next morning. Go back to your room. You share the same room with 5 other people. You're stressed out. Now, what do people do when they're stressed out and pushing over the edge? They jump over the edge, commit suicide. Now, when they commit suicide, Foxconn doesn't care. And the reason why Foxconn doesn't care is because Foxconn is in China. And then for all the resources we have in China, the number 1 resource in China is people. We have an abundance of people. Everybody kill themselves, that's fine. Hire somebody else, right? There's always people who want to work for Foxconn. So it's sad, but it's true. Now, so Foxconn doesn't care. But this suicide, now when a suicide is conducted in a private place, it's okay. I mean, if somebody killed himself in the room, we lock the door and nobody find out, we'll come up later. But when an employee commits a public suicide, everybody all see it. That looks bad for the company. So in 2013, 2014, this got so bad that Apple took notice. So Apple wrote a letter to Foxconn. It said, Foxconn, you guys did a good job for us for making all the iPhones and everything else. But your employee killing themselves looks bad on us. You better fix it. If you don't, can someone else produce iPhone for us? So Foxconn under pressure must fix this problem. Now imagine that you are a project manager at Foxconn. your project, your newest project, is to solve this public suicide problem at the most cost-efficient way. Okay. And remember, the keyword here is cost-efficient, right? Now, you can provide more counseling in the company, but it'll cost money. It doesn't guarantee solve the problem. You can give people more time off, they'll cost money too. I don't like that. And then especially employees want more hours. The more money hours, the more money they make. What else? So this was the management team at Foxconn. Remember, we don't care about the problem when the employee committed private suicide. We only want to prevent public suicide, which is by way of jumping off buildings. So what they did, if you guys ever have a chance to visit Foxconn, they don't call it, so at Foxconn, you don't call it a company anymore. It's called a compound. You want to go to a Foxconn compound. But inside the compound, yeah, because all the stuff.
Look it up. Oh, you talked about it in the summer, but
Yeah,
I went home after the
uh-huh.
story and looked it up. And it's very sad.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
But
It's still
so-
interesting.
It's very interesting. So when you go to their compound, for every building that's more than 3-story tall, they all put a level of nets surrounding the building. Try to catch people. That's the most cost efficient way. Now, however, that didn't solve the problem. Because like everything else made in China, this net, which also made in China, is better in quality. So suicide become a 2-stage process. Now, before with no nets, when you jump, you fall to the net. That's 1 stage. But now with level nets, when you jump, the nets catch you, the nets break, you still fall to the net. So it become a 2-stage process. Problem? We put 2-level nets from. Every building on a 3-story tall, they all have 2-level nets surrounding building by the net. It's horrible. It's horrible. So you guys feel better now,
Yeah.
knowing that your iPhone has multiple blood on it?
Oh, no.
No.
Yes, no. Let me change my answer.
That my people in China are dying to make your iPhone. But let me show you something. See what I have? I have an iPhone. My people are dying to make my iPhone. Why care?
Oh, there's
Not
too many
really,
people.
right? I mean, it doesn't bother me. I want to say yes, but the reality is no, it doesn't bother me. Because for our consumers, we don't care about how this thing is made. All we care about is how much it is and if it's good. If it's good and cheap enough, I buy it regardless who made it. And then trust me, if Hitler is today, the Hitler make a better iPhone cheaper, guess what do we do? We buy from Hitler. So can we say that our consumer have no soul? Sure, yes, we have no soul. All we have is a wallet. That's all we have. Make sense? All right, we have 2 more slides for this chapter, now we're finished. 2 more slides.
Poor people. So sad.
So sad, but so true.
It is. This
Yeah.
picture, I found pictures and you see them, and it
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like they're in prison.
Mhm.
Terrible.
Now, no was an absolute advantage. But guys, let me give you a better definition than what's on the PowerPoint, because the one on the PowerPoint is a little misleading. So to be called an absolute advantage, as long as you can produce more of the good, you have an absolute advantage. If you can produce more of the good, that is your absolute advantage. So just know that whoever can produce more of the good, that is the absolute advantage. So between US and Japan, we can produce more computers. US, because we can do a maximum of 500 computers, Japan only 240. Right? So US, we can do more computers. Then we say US, we have the absolute advantage in the production for computers. Now, between US and Japan, who can produce more wheat? US again, because for US we can do a maximum of 5,000, Japan's only 1,200. So US, we can do more of both good. That means we have an absolute advantage in the production for both good. So which means the trade is not based on absolute advantage. Because if trade is based on absolute advantage, then US will never trade with Japan. Because we're putting everything. So trade must be based on something else. So what trade is based on? It's based on this thing called, right? Is this one? Hey, guys, give me 1 second. I'm gonna use this one. There we go. So trade is based on this thing called a comparative advantage. So for comparative advantage, is the ability to produce the good and service at a lower opportunity cost. That is your comparative advantage. And that is the foundation of trade. That's what trade is based on. So whoever have a comparative advantage, that is what you're good at, and that's what you should export. The comparative advantage is the foundation of trade, and whoever have a comparative advantage, that is what they're good at, and that's what they should specialize and export it to other countries. Now, to find comparative advantage, which is whoever have the lowest opportunity cost. If you go over the book might show you one way. I don't like that much. I have a way to show you. I believe my way is better. So my way is better. So let me show you this. Okay.
You said it's the ability to produce a good and service at a lower cost. Right?
Lower opportunity. That's a keyword. Opportunity cost. The lower opportunity cost, that's a comparative. All right. So let me show you this one. Okay, so this way, I call this the four price method. The four prices. Now for the four prices method, we're gonna use our four prices method based off the numbers on your PPF. But more specifically, we don't need all the numbers on PPF. The only number we need off the PPF are the two end points. The two extreme production for each country. Those four numbers, that's the only numbers we need to find our four prices. So for the four prices, let me use this.
And what are we finding again? I'm sorry.
We're looking for the comparative advantage.
Okay.
So this method is called the four price method, comparative advantage. All right. So four prices. Now this four prices, you have two countries and two goods. So the four prices basically is each good in each country. So we're gonna do the price of computers in Japan, price of wheat in Japan, price of computers in the US, and price of wheat in the US. All right, so for these four prices, each one is going to be a simple fraction. They'll solve the problem for you. So it's a simple fraction. Now for this fraction, what goes on top, what goes on bottom is very specific. So what goes on the bottom of the fraction? Whatever price you're looking for. Oh, by the way, this price, we don't mean the price in terms of the dollar. We mean the price of opportunity cost, which means how much of the other good you must be able to produce this good. So this opportunity cost, this price over here, is always in terms of the other good. So looking for the price of a computer, it will show you how much it costs you in terms of wheat. Looking for the price of wheat, it will show you how much it costs you in terms of producing a computer. Okay, so this fraction, this is what you do. What goes on the bottom of the fraction? Whatever price you're looking for, that maximum production goes on the bottom of the fraction. So first, looking for the price of computers in Japan. Japan maximum can produce 240 computers, and that goes on the bottom of the fraction. Now, what goes on top of the fraction is the maximum of the other good. So for Japan, at maximum, you can produce 1,200 pounds of, and that goes on the top of the fraction. So whatever price you're looking for goes on the bottom, and then the maximum of the other good goes on top. So 1,200 over 240, simplified, this will be 5. Now, 5 what? Right? Wheat, right? So 5 wheat. But it's always in terms of the other good. Right? So which means you produce one computer, it costs you 5 wheat. In terms of the other good. Now, let's do wheat. Same concept. Okay. So maximum number of wheat for Japan is 1,200. That goes on the bottom. And what goes on top is the maximum of the other good. So 240 computers goes on top. So 240 divided by 1,200, and this is going to have 1/5 computers. So in Japan, produce 1 wheat, it costs you 1/5 computer. Okay. All right, guys, try that. So try this on your own. Find out what's the price for computers in US, What's the price for wheat in US? What's the price for computers for US? And what's the price for wheat for US? Oh, which team was the best team in last year? I want to pick one out there. No, negative.
So you said the maximum, what again?
So
What goes on
whatever-
the top and the bottom?
Right, so whatever price you're looking for, that maximum goes on the bottom. And then the other good maximum goes on top.
Okay.
Right, so this and this always match.
Okay.
So computers. All right, guys, for computers for US, we're gonna do, so what number goes on the bottom? 500 computers. What goes on top? 5,000. 5,000 wheat divided by 500 computers, and this will give you 10 wheat. Which means in America, to produce one computer will cost you 10 wheat. 110. Okay, so 5,000 goes on the bottom. 500 goes on top. It will be 1/10 computers. Okay, you got it? All right, so this is the 4 prices. Now, next, we're going to find out who has the comparative advantage. Now, remember, comparative advantage is whoever can produce this good at a lower opportunity cost. So whoever have a lower price on there for each production, that is comparative advantage. So let's compare computers first. So for computers, between US and Japan, who has a lower price on computers? Japan.
Okay.
Because in Japan, will cost you only 5 wheat. In US, costs you 10 wheat. This is lower. So we say Japan has the comparative advantage in the production for computers. So if you have a lower price over there, that's a comparative advantage. Now, for wheat, who has the comparative advantage? US, because US is only 1/10 computer. Japan is 1/5 computer. This is lower. And we say US, we have the comparative advantage in the production for wheat. Now, the thing with the comparative advantage, remember this, guys, is always one country or one party, one comparative advantage. If somehow on your home on your quiz on your test, if you find out that one country has 2 comparative advantages, it's betting on someone. Always one country, one comparative advantage. So if you know Japan is doing computers, then it's automatically US must be doing computers.
Because it costs less than a computer, right?
All right, any question about this? No? Okay. So guys, if no questions, let's end it here. So remember, we have chapter 2 and 3 to do for this week. And then for discussions, remember the minimum requirement is 300 words. So almost, make sure you reply to your classmate. If you're on posting, 300 words, you reply to your classmate, and they'll earn a full part of it. All right.
You said you were gonna upload this PowerPoint, right?
Okay. So what I will do later today, I will upload all the PowerPoints for the one I'm going to use in the lecture, okay? And I'll also make a new video, go over some problems in chapter 3 quiz. So if you are struggling on the quiz, wait a little bit. Later today, I will post the videos online, and then you can look at that video first. And that will show you a couple questions in the quiz, and then click that for your quiz. That'll be easier.
Yes, I was debating whether to do the quiz after I come to class or try to do it before.
It's always a good idea to do it
After class, yeah.
Or you know what, do this. Before you come to class, do one try, and see which area you have a problem with, and then come after class.
I'm excited to do it.
All right. Okay, any questions? Okay, so guys, if no questions, I will see you again next Thursday.
Last question.
Yes.
So, and I know I've asked before, but I want to be sure. So for the test, study quizzes.
Yeah, so the same with the test. You guys can my class last time, so you know this. The test questions, they're different than quiz questions, but very, very similar. So if you can understand, if you know how the quiz works, if you know every question in the quiz, how that works, you'll be fine on the test. So what I do on the test, I will make my own questions, but it's the same format, so same wording, I will check numbers.
So I know you said we can do the test twice online and one in person.
Yes.
So when will we do that one in person?
So that week for the test,
Uh-huh.
we're gonna do the same thing like this. So instead of doing a lecture, will be a time for a test.
Okay, so they test our Sundays too, right?
And so the online test is on Sunday, but that week we'll be doing tests in class.
That Thursday, and then
That's
it's final due on that Sunday. Okay.
So you guys want to take an in-person test, get one more try here on Sunday.
Do you get a cheat sheet for the test?
So on the test, on the in-person test, you do get one page cheat sheet.
Oh,
So now the cheat sheet rules, on the 8x11 paper, so don't forget to post it.
well, when's the first test, do you remember?
The
When
first
is
test,
due?
it's couple, this is
6, 7 times?
6 chapters. So, next week's chapter 4, after next week's is 5 and 6. So in 3 weeks will be our first test.
Okay, so we do the test first here, and then it'll be available on.
I mean, it will be available online the entire week.
Oh,
So
okay.
starting from Monday of that week, that test will be available until the Sunday.
So it needs to be, yeah, after the.
After in person.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Maybe more.
Oh, okay.
So we take the highest grade, so whatever you get out of the 3 tries, to the highest.
Oh, so the one we do in person, we can still go home and do the other two. I got you. Thank you.
All right, any questions?
No.
Okay, so guys, I will see you next week. Yeah. And then for anybody who's gonna watch this recorded session, make sure to leave your name in the comment box, get your points.
And you said that we can buy this time.
Oh yeah, so buy a Scantron for the in-person. Buy the pink one, the pink Scantron. Buy the blue one. Now, they have 2 shades of blue, a light shade, a dark shade, it doesn't matter.
Is this the big paper or the little paper?
But it's a little one, not the big scanner, but
Oh, okay.
the narrow, long one.
Okay, I think they sell that here, right?
Oh, it's out there, it's out there. Go downstairs to the bookstore and I can buy them.
So on a 12 assistant courses are they like actively?
They're really.
What do you mean? I mean, so every week, all the quizzes due on Sunday night.
Oh.
So I think for this week it's chapter 2 and 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so those 2 chapters will be due on Sunday night at 11:59. Or 11:30.
It's gonna.
One
look
more
pretty.
11:59.
So the reason why not 11:59 is a good question. I wanted to set up
Last
11:59.
semester it was 11.
It was, but now it's 11:30.
Are you up at 11:59?
So I think what happened is that since the system changed, it was automatically 11:59, but now it's automatically 11:30. Now I can go back in there and manually put 11:59, it's much work.
A lot of quizzes.
Okay. And then another thing is a quiz today. It's 11:30 at night, but I wasn't sure which time zone I set it up for. So do early, just in case. That's too early. All right, guys. If nothing else, I'll see you next week.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.